Hola a todos. It's great to be back in Madrid. Thank you for having us. Miguel and I are going to have a little fireside chat today because it's not too often that you get to see two companies come together, both having over 100 million users, coming together to create the future of open banking, the future of financial services. Before we get into that, the financial services landscape is changing dramatically. There is a forecast that over $10 trillion will be spent through mobile wallets by the year 2025, and about $1 billion of that, or close to $1 trillion of that, will be financed through buy now, pay later, or new financing schemes. And as we look at the change in landscape, the change in financial products, the change in the end user experience, all of that is fascinating and dominates most of the headlines. What we're interested in getting into a little bit today is the technology that actually enables the creation of open banking, the technology that enables the creation of these game-changing products and end-user experiences. And what better way to do that than to start with an introduction of my good friend here, Miguel Santos. Miguel, why don't you tell a little bit about Technisys? What is Technisys to this audience who may not be as familiar with the great business that you've created across Latin America?
Oh, of course, Derek, and knowing that you paid 1.1 billion for that, I think it should be interesting, don't you think?
Absolutely, the Latin America unicorn.
So what we do is software, and it's a digital banking platform that is the software a bank or a fintech or a neobank may use, both on the front end, which is the experience layer, which is what you touch, what you use on your phones, on your webs, or even talking to Alexa, pay my bills, please. And the backend. The backends, also known as core platforms, core systems in the industry. You might not be hearing about that, but you're using it without knowing. And those are the systems that, in principle, do the math, the calculations, interest rates, how to lend money, the transfers, and also book it, and also share the information with the regulators and with the networks that allow you to pay on a shop and debit from your bank account, wherever it is. So that's what Technisys does. We did it for like 20 years, for more than 70 banks, touching somewhat, a little bit more than 100 million end users. And I think, as you said, Derek, financial services are evolving. We're all using digital services now. We're all using digital money. But what's next, right? So the last 20 years, we took money from paper to your phones. So what's next, I wonder?
That's a great question. Why don't we come back to that in just a minute? As we look at Technisys, is it fair to say that you mentioned you have 80 banks that operate on Technisys today, 75 to 80 banks. So who is it, these banks, they come to Technisys, and who is it within these banks that's coming to Technisys, and why are they coming to Technisys?
Well, I connect the two answers, because the new customers that are coming to us are the ones that really want to differentiate, that really want to be different, that really want to win. Who are those? Those may be startups, like you in the audience. Who's an entrepreneur in the audience? Or who wants to be? Well, fair amount. Could be an established bank, like BBVA or Santander or any other that you might know, that want to maybe relaunch the business, to get closer to the users, to the customers, to offer different services. Or could be another type of company, retailer or telco or electronic or e-commerce sites that want to add financial services or to render financial services to their customers as well, as a way of getting more margins and more revenue. And this is typical because the last very funny case I heard about in the company was a football team, because like pretty much any company having roughly 200,000 customers nowadays can build a profitable financial services business. So this football club team wanted to build a card specifically for doing payments on the matches, buying the shirts, and the rest of the merchandising, and then of course opening that to the general life of those people. And this is a football team. Could be literally any community with more than 200K final users.
Yeah. So people come to you, and they come to Technisys in Latin America primarily, and they come to Galileo in the United States, where they want to translate an idea, whether it's an established legacy organization that wants to modernize and create something entirely new, or whether it's a startup. And one example of that is the largest digital bank in the United States came to Galileo, and the founders said, I have an idea. I want to change the world. I've got zero funding. Will you help me build a business? And with that, about 10 years ago, we partnered with them to create what is now the largest digital bank in the United States, taking an idea in an entrepreneur's head that wanted to solve a problem, essentially addressing the unbanked or underbanked in the United States. And that underbanked focus, delivering a value proposition, leveraging the technology and the open platform that we have at Galileo, has built a digital bank in the United States with over 25 million users. A phenomenal story, and that's essentially what our businesses do. Miguel's business is in Latin America. Our business is primarily in the United States, and we're now coming together to create a truly exciting open platform that serves both the, as Miguel mentioned, the end user interface, an API platform that moves money in payment processing, as well as a broader technology platform that enables anybody to take an idea, whether they're in a legacy organization or whether they're in a startup, and translate that idea into the hands of the customer, or as we say in Spanish, en manos de los clientes. And that's what we see as really our exciting opportunity and why we're here today. But if we look at Technisys and the 100 million users you have here, you mentioned an example of anybody can create a business like this. Maybe you can tell the story of one of your clients, maybe Falabella?
Yeah,
That's,
right.
A retailer that has created a financial services division.
Yeah, Falabella is a retailer in Latin America, very strong in Chile, that expanded into Mexico, Colombia, Peru, Argentina, and yeah, I think one additional country. And they had, going to the retail stores, maybe roughly 10 million people, right? 10 million customers buying stuff from the retail stores. So they started at the beginning offering the classic, it's called closed loop purchasing card, that the users, that the customers could use to get discounts or some type of benefit buying with that on the stores. But then at some point realized that they could potentially give to these 10 million customers additional services, not just for payment on the stores, for payments elsewhere, for savings, for investments. So they created a bank, they got a license, and they launched the bank in these 5 countries. So fast forward 4 years, and then the financial services branch is responsible for 60% of the EBITDA of the group. So that means that the financial services arm of the business became stronger than the original retail stores. And this is also because...
In just 4 years?
Yeah, 4 years. So they swapped the business completely in terms of the value added. And nowadays, it's even more than that, as they are growing outside the ecosystem of the stores, because they got, I don't know, they built a terrific experience on the mobile and the web, so they got like the best apps in Chile and Colombia, the best user experience as well, a few prices there that are a result of a very, very good work creating these experiences. And as you know, nowadays the financial services companies, banks or fintechs, compete with experience. They don't compete with rates or with specific products. It's just the experience as a whole that makes you prefer maybe SoFi than another.
Absolutely. And it's that experience, whether it's with a retailer, as Miguel talks about with Falabella, is a great example of why this concept of open banking, and which Europe is really leading on from a regulatory standpoint and driving the concept of open banking. But the concept is really for any established brand with a sizable number of humans, customers, operating and interacting with their brand and their business, can create embedded finance or embedded products, because every industry and every human interacts with money in some way, shape, or form. And I spent some time at Google. And while working at Google, one thing that is very clear in recognizing an ecosystem business all starts with end human users and how many human users you have operating on the platform. Miguel mentioned 200,000, a couple of million customers at Falabella. At Google, they have 12 businesses with over 1 billion users. Those billion users then interact on their platform in time and interactions, and then are monetized in some way. Open banking is about creating experiences, as Miguel says, and creating products and experiences that can be monetized in any interaction, allowing any brand, whether it's an established retailer, a large financial institution, or any one of you that's looking to start a business, can create a financial services product, platform, and business. Over the last couple of days, Miguel and I have had a chance to meet with some of the biggest banks in Europe. And if we look at just banking for a minute, the established legacy players, how would you describe where they are in their ability to serve the needs and to compete with fintechs? What is it that's building product and experiences in a legacy bank versus a fintech? What's the difference?
Yeah, the difference is tremendous, because, of course, the legacy banks and the word legacy comes with weight, because they are using technology that is 20 years old, 30, or even 40 in some cases, written in languages we don't even know they exist, right? So that legacy is very, very heavy. So creating new products with those platforms is impossible. Whereas on the other way around, and I'll give you one example, one concrete example of a Spanish startup, fintech, where I'm an investor. That's probably here in the room, David, maybe. Yeah, he's here. How this guy uses open banking.
Okay.
So this is a fintech that, let's say you want to get the iPhone 14, it's coming in December. So you just do okay, help me, David, help me save for that iPhone I want. So you go to his platform, it's called Going, and you say, okay, set the objective, I want this iPhone. Okay, I'll help you save. So where do you bank, Derek? And you just put, I bank at BBVA or any other here in Europe. So how much can I take from your account? How much do you make? How much do you save? Okay, you can take 80. So it's going to take you maybe 10 months. So these guys start to pull the money from your account via what? Via open banking standards, and saves for you. Once they're there, they go buy the iPhone and it's yours, right? And I love that, because it's not only about using the rails, being creative, but also generating the right culture on people.
Absolutely. Another example, just to build on that, of open banking from the United States is a company called Greenlight. If any of you have ever heard of the company Greenlight, they wanted to create a solution to educate children, and especially teens, on money. And so they wanted to create a product called a parent-teen account, allowing parents to be able to authorize where their kids are spending and how they're spending, and then to educate them on how to best manage and interact with money. So we created the founders wanted to create this business and solve a problem for teenagers. They didn't want to go get a banking license. So in the United States, we play matchmaker, and in a marketplace, match the founder with those that actually want to provide the license. And then through open banking, we're able to allow that founder to create an entirely new business that solves a problem for a very specific set of customers, and has grown to be a very successful business, specifically tailored around parent and teen education and investments and how to manage money. And it's amazing to see how it is helping kids learn just really, really basic budgeting tools. Really exciting to see that. You also mentioned culture. One of the things we saw, we've got a lot of founders and entrepreneurs out here that hope to be sitting in the seat you're sitting in. They will someday. Your inspiration to so many in having built a business over 20 years, achieved unicorn status, successful exit, now scaling a business globally. What advice do you have to them on how to build culture? In the evolutions we've talked about of your business over the 20 years, what advice would you give to these founders and entrepreneurs on how to build culture in a company?
Yeah, well, many people says that culture beats everything else, right, in a company, and I think it's true because, you cannot do things by yourself. You just can't. There's no, we're 1,200 people right now, and from the very beginning, I think you need to create a culture. You need to propel a culture where everybody, feels part of what we are doing, of what you are doing, what you want to do. Because the power of doing what you want, what you like, and forming teams that they are all in this type of synchrony is immense compared to other companies that are competing against you that might not do it and not create that type of culture. So I think belonging to the purpose of the company is really key. That is the strongest idea I can share.
I would fully echo that. Purpose-driven companies is incredibly powerful. I would also suggest a theme that carries across whether it's established legacy organizations or entrepreneurs. Nothing builds culture like building, creating, and shipping new products and experiences. And many legacy organizations, we met with one legacy organization that's a very well-run organization just yesterday, and they say that while they have a good digital reputation, they can ship product 3 times a year. In open banking and platforms like Pegasus and Galileo, we changed that from being able to ship product 3 times a year to 3 times a day. And it's all possible. Unfortunately, we're out of time. It is great to be back in Madrid. It's great to be back here at South Summit. Thank you, Maria Benjumea and the team that put this on. It's lovely to be here with you, and we wish all of you success in achieving unicorn status, and look forward to seeing all of you sitting in this chair up here someday, either acquiring a unicorn or as a unicorn. Thank you all.
Thank you.